Jag befinner mig i Punta Gorda. Det är ungefär 2 timmar söder om Tampa och 1 timme norr om Cape Coral och Fort Myers på Floridas västkust. Och bakom mig, ja, jag kanske rent av är det så att någon känner igen den här husfasaden. För det här var till för några år sedan ett av USAs mest uppskattade bilmuseer. Idag finns det inga bilar här. Museet är nedlagt, men vi ska ändå titta på bilarna som fanns i det här museet och vi testkörde dem på den här vägen för ett antal år sedan. Nu ska vi titta på det. Inne vi oss i Muscle Car City i Punta Gorda, Florida och en samling muskelbilar som räknas till USAs största. Rick, som äger samlingen, köpte ett nedlagt varuhus för att få plats med sina 250 dyrgripar, alla i skick som när de den gången lämnade fabriken. I de närmaste programmen så ska vi ägna oss åt höjdpunkterna här i Muscle Car City med över 200 muskelbilar på en yta stor som 2 fotbollsplaner. Och jag frågar Rick, tell us about your cars.
My collection spans from my oldest car is a 1914 Baby Grand, which was the first production Chevrolet, and I work all the way up to a 2010 ZR1 is the newest car in the collection. Primarily though I span the 50s, 60s and 70s in the muscle car era.
Is it possible to have just one favorite among all these cars?
I don't know about one. I think my favorite overall probably would be the 427 67 Corvettes. I've got a few of them on the floor. That was like the high mark or high water mark for Corvettes at that time, and that's the big block Corvette would be probably my favorite in what we have here.
Well, Rick, this is a very iconic car. Could you explain why?
Yes, these 427 Corvettes, that was the end of the series of the mid-year, the C2 Corvette. And of course, all Corvettes, the higher the horsepower, the more valuable the car. This is the second step down in horsepower, but it has air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, things that weren't available on the 435 car. So it's a more user-friendly car. In all kinds of weather and stuff, it's a more comfortable car to drive and so forth than what the 435 is. So for that reason, it makes it extremely desirable car. So,
it was rare as new and it's even more rare today.
That's absolutely right. The air-conditioned cars are actually, in the big blocks now, are actually probably more rare than what the 435s are today. I've got 18 for sure of the big block cars.
Yeah. And you collect them in different colors, I guess?
Yeah, when I started out trying to come up with one of every color. I got that accomplished. Then I realized there's different colors of stingers on them, which is the painting on the hood. And I gave up before I tried to get all of those put together. Car in 1970. The Rally Sport, if you look at the front end of the car, it has a split bumper set up where the grille hangs out between them. The regular car, the bumper went all the way across, and those parking lights or running lights on the front, that's only a Rally Sport option. So that's the biggest, easiest way to tell them apart.
And I understand people really loved this car when it came.
They did. There was a love-hate relationship with this car because the people that loved the 67 through 69 didn't want to give up that body, and so the people that love it. The people that didn't still like the old ones. So it was a love-hate relationship, the only way I know to say it.
Yeah. And you say it was at least lightning fast.
They were very fast. They went in 1970. They went from a 302 290 horsepower engine to this engine was a 350 270 horsepower. It actually was a lot more low-end power, a lot faster feeling car. I don't know if it really was faster, but it felt faster. The average buyer's a young male that had graduated high school and had a first good job, or a man coming back from the service, but basically you're a young American in the age 18 to 25 group. And mostly male buyers for the Z28s because they were a performance car. They weren't, the ladies usually wanted the air conditioning and the smoother driving cars and automatics and stuff like that, and these cars really didn't provide that at that time.
En ny Corvette, en stor händelse i bilvärlden. Här är den då, 7:e generationen. Om den ska det handla idag, men vi tar det väl i rätt ordning och börjar med första generationen från 1953.
Right. The 53, they made 300 units in 1953. They were 6-cylinder cars in 53, 4 in the beginning of 55. At that point, they put the V8 in the car, and the car started coming into its own because it had a little more power and it was more fun to drive. C1 cars ran until 1962. At that point, the 63 split window and the convertible, they made them both in a hardtop and a convertible in those years. That car stayed popular through 1967. We hit some of my favorite cars. I grew up with that era of car, and the 67 427s are, to me, the most exciting cars that have been built. It was a fun time for it, and probably a high water mark in Corvette. Then in 1968, they did a complete new body change, and that was a very popular look. Everybody liked it. It was a stylish look, but the cars kept losing a little bit of power as time went on, and let's face it, Corvette's power, if you don't have it, it's not quite as exciting. So by the end of the 80s, they kind of wore their welcome out, and they had to do something different, which is where they come into the C4 car in the 1984 model, and that carried it through the 96. Those had, the Grand Sport was a pretty phenomenal car. We've got one in on the floor. It was the most performance side. The ZR1, the first series ZR1 came out. It had a motor by Mercury Marine, and that was a real big deal when it came out. It was a fast car. However, when the C5 came out, it outran the ZR1, so it kind of shadowed it, and all of a sudden everything was new and better handling, and the cars are friendlier on the road. They're just a considerably more user-friendly car, and they're more fun. They quit running the C5 in 2005 and went to the C6, which was basically a small body change and quite a bit of performance change. They did, the Z06 was a performance model. It was 505 horsepower by then. And then in the end of that series, they ran the ZR1 again, but now it was 638 horsepower and turbocharged. It was literally a king of the hill at that point. There's almost nothing on the road for the money that would run with that car.
And now we have the C7 shadowing everything before that.
That's right, the latest and the greatest has just come out, and they're just starting to show up around the country. It's drawn a lot of things. The body's real edgy, a little more chiseled look than what the C5 was. And it's being very well accepted. They've upgraded the interior to a world-class interior, got rid of all the plastics and stuff inside the car, went to an LT motor, which is a little bit different configuration from what the LS was, and they're just now starting to learn about how fast we can make this car, and it looks like a pretty bright future.
Could you say it's more upgraded to European standards?
I would say it certainly is. It's comparable to almost everything European. Now, I don't think money for money, there's not much you can buy that will, hang with this car for the same kind of money.
Is it true to say that you get a lot of value for money with a Corvette?
You get a lot of value for the money. There's probably nothing that's a better deal out there.
Här i Muscle Car City finns en bil som drar till sig mer intresse än alla muskelbilar. Det är Ricks lilla röda. Rick, tell us the story behind this car.
This little car, I've had it approximately 3 years now. It's what you call a 1932 Landau Phaeton. This particular one is a hot rod. It's on a late model chassis. It's got all late model suspension. It's got a crate 350 motor with about 330 horsepower, automatic transmission, Ford differential in it. The little car is one of the rare body styles that Chevrolet built back in that year, so you hardly ever see this particular body in a street rod or a stock car for that matter. So I'm in love with it just because it is a very unique car.
Yeah. Could you tell me the difference between street rod and hot rod?
Well, in this country, there's really not a lot of difference between a street rod and a hot rod. Originally, they were all called hot rods. As time went on, they were more built for the street. When it was first started, they were built for track, and so they didn't have to be a street car to be a hot rod. Not today, they're almost all street cars, so they just call them street rods instead of hot rods.
Who drives a car like this today? Is it a young guy or a mature guy?
Most of it's older. These cars are very expensive, and usually it's an older person that has this car because you want it as a kid, but you really can't afford it. You've got to, get after the kids are gone and stuff like that. Then people come back and buy these cars that they liked when they were a kid.
And I guess you need a very good relationship with the police.
It doesn't hurt a bit.
Vi ska besöka Ricks bilmuseum igen och se vad han har tagit ut ur sin samling idag, Rick.
What we have here is a 1970 LS6 Chevelle. It was like the high water mark for Chevelle. When they started out, they were lower horsepower, and they kept gaining horsepower every year through 1970. This is a 450 horsepower 4-speed. It was like the king of the hill in 1970, and the horsepower started going way after this car. So this car is probably as sought after as any car or any Chevelle that's out there.
And it's very rare. The convertibles are very rare.
Yes, there's 16 convertibles in existence.
And this is one of those.
This is one. War started probably about 1965, and every year they got a little more powerful and a little more powerful. This was the step after the 396 car, and the solid lifter 450 horsepower 454 was the king of the hill. That's the baddest thing that they built. The big box store.
You have a lot of Swedes, Scandinavians coming here. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Yeah. What do they ask?
Well, it seems to mostly about individual. They all have a car they like, and they're more interested in knowing about a marked car or something like that. And it's fun kind of talking back and forth about what you people have a bigger like for our American muscle car than we do, I think. You know?
I think so. Hallå där, gillade du det här klippet då ska du veta att det finns mer på min YouTube-kanal Trafikmagasinet BilTv med Perstad. Där finns hundratals klipp som handlar om bilar och trafik från igår, idag och lite grann också imorgon. Och där laddar jag upp nya klipp varje dag i veckan och adressen är alltså Trafikmagasinet BilTv med Perstad. Och du, hör gärna av dig med tips och idéer, det uppskattar jag. Nu kör vi!